and they give you the ability to actually add this artifact to the project knowledge base. So this is again like how project knowledge can be useful and how Claude intelligently uses that to fill in different gaps and also like come up with these different suggestions that. So the other good thing about Claude is, as you can see, you can provide text context rather than always like loading something to this. So one of the main problems that I faced with ChatGPT was having to repeat the same thing over and over again. Especially since I'm working on building products, I felt like that I have to provide a lot of context as a prompt. So I created these different templates and use them as prompts. But I always felt that there should be a better way to do this. And the other issue which I had was when you start a conversation with ChatGPT and it becomes a really long chat, you have a lot of important context or outputs from those chat that ChatGPT actually knows and only lives in that particular chat. So I was afraid to switch to a different chat because a lot of the context is actually already in that chat. And the other issue was long chat comes the limitation. So like you reach the token limit pretty easily. And ChatGPT recently released their projects functionality, which kind of solves a lot of these issues. But I still see some issues with ChatGPT, especially when you're starting a project, you don't really have all the context ready, right? So you may have some basic documents about the project that you can use as the project knowledge base. But a lot of the other knowledge is generated as like start these conversations with ChatGPT. The other issue is compared to something like Claude, context window that ChatGPT provides is a lot less. And also, I have seen compared to Claude, ChatGPT, the outputs are not that, I would say, readable. If you with you Claude, you can understand the output a lot better. So the main problem that I see is a lot of the times tasks or projects that we work on could be like long term. So you would expect ChatGPT to know some of the context that you provided earlier, or if you had like conversations with ChatGPT, the outputs of those chats to be remembered by ChatGPT. So this is the reason why ChatGPT introduced projects recently as well. But as I mentioned, compared to Claude projects, I think Claude projects does a better job in terms of the user experience than ChatGPT projects. So in this video, I will show you how I use Claude projects for different projects in my life, including work and personal, and how to use its structure and avoid all of these problems and build a long-term solution that you can use instead of like opening up ChatGPT every time and having to provide a lot of context every time you start a chat. So before we dive into Claude projects, I think it would be easy for you to understand if I explain this in a context of a real example. So I've created a small document of a demo project. So the project is about a web application which features locations and activities that you can do in Sri Lanka. So let's assume this application is already out there and you already have like 1,000 daily active users. This project in Claude. So I'm gonna name this visit Sri Lanka and what you are trying to achieve. So basically the goal is this. So I'm gonna use this here. So this is what you see when you visit your project. Here you can see the project title. You can have conversations regarding the project here, and all of your project knowledge will be here. So what I'll do is I've downloaded this document and I'll upload this as project knowledge. As you can see, it consumes 1% of the knowledge. The other thing is something that I've also done was to like a bit overthink on like what the project knowledge should be. But I think what's important is to keep things simple at the start. You can always add more knowledge as you go, and as I'll explain, like some of the outcomes of the chats that you have with Claude can also become a part of project knowledge. So for now, I think an intro about the application, and probably I'll give some context on what my role is and what's the team structures like. So it will come in handy when I ask it to like create tasks, for example, for the team. I'm gonna name this my role and team structure. So the other good thing about Claude is, as you can see, you can provide text context rather than always like loading something to this. Which is a small thing, but kind of makes the experience a bit better than ChatGPT. So I'm gonna save, and the team I have is, the team consists of a technical lead, let's say 3 full stack developers, 1 product designer, and let's say 2 QA engineers, right? And I'm gonna also add the tech stack. So let's say, for example, it could be like Next.js, Superbase based one. Yeah. I'm going to show you how you can use chats for different initiatives of the project. So basically what I'm thinking is, when people plan a trip, especially to a country that they are not familiar with, one of the problems that they face is they really don't know where to start and how to like plan their trip for the number of days that they are going to stay in that country. Yes, you can see the different locations, activities that you can do, but it's always hard to sort of plan your trip, where to begin, how to like travel from one place to another, and how to like best utilize the days that they are gonna stay in the country. So I'm thinking of, adding something like sort of a prompt from the user asking like the number of days that they are gonna stay and what are the different types of activities that they want to do to plan the trip for them. And since we already have the locations and activities already in the platform, we can like connect those and like give them a proper plan. So let's see how we can use project chat to get some suggestions on how actually I can implement that, and how you can actually add the, for example, the project requirement document back to the project knowledge, so that you don't really have to stay on the same chat. All right, as you can see, I have added 4 pieces of text as project knowledge, and it's still consuming 1%. On another video, I actually showed how quickly you can give a large prompt using speech to text. So I'm gonna use that here as well. All right, I'm gonna speak now. We are thinking of a new initiative where we would help our users plan a trip. So what we would do is, we can take input from users regarding their type of locations that they want to visit, the different type of activities that they want to perform, and whether they are traveling as a couple or a family or a group, and what are the how many number of days that they are gonna stay in Sri Lanka. And all these inputs should be like general inputs. Not, we should not ask the users about specific locations. It's just the type of locations and type of activities that they wanna do. Right, so I'm gonna release the key so that speech to text will transcribe what I said. Alright, so as I explained in the other video as well, as you can see, the whole prompt, if I was to type this, is gonna have taken a lot of time. So I managed to like get this prompt quickly, and I don't really need to worry about the grammar and all, because Claude gonna understand it anyway. And I think there are some small mistakes like that, but I think overall it looks okay. Let's see what it comes up with. Let's see. Okay. This is what I like about Claude, really. Uh, so the outputs that Claude come up with are really human readable. Like, it's easy to understand what it says. The other cool thing is, like, they give you these different artifacts. Artifact means like it's an output that you can actually see on the right. And I think this left right screen break and the artifact feature is really cool, and it makes the user experience really great. As you can see, let's see if this actually works. Right, beaches, mountains. Okay, I want to do it. Winter sports next. Yeah, for the purpose of this demo, I'm gonna also ask it to write a project requirements document for the trip planning phase. Can you write a detailed project requirements document for the trip planning phase? See, it has generated this project requirements document. And also, as you can see, because I gave the team structure like this, it recommends that I should review this document with the technical lead first and have a separate session with my product designer to focus on the user experience. So this is again like how project knowledge can be useful and how Claude intelligently uses that to fill in different gaps and also like come up with these different suggestions that you don't really ask it for. But so one of the problems that I mentioned earlier was you have these different chats and it's hard to like transfer this knowledge back to the project knowledge base because chats are not considered as part of the knowledge base. So what Claude actually has done correctly is one thing, they create these outputs which they call artifacts that you can see on the right, and they give you the ability to actually add this artifact to the project knowledge base. And when you're doing this, you should be mindful that you should only add artifacts that you think is useful in the context of the other initiatives or chats that you're going to have in the future. So I'm probably going to take this a bit more deeper, especially with the LLM training and how to perform that, which would be a separate chat. So since that this knowledge will be helpful for that initiative or like the chat that I'm going to use, I'm going to add this to the project knowledge base. And once I add this, if I go back, you can see the MD or like the text file that regarding the project requirement documents being added to as a project knowledge. You don't really need to continue in the same chat. Understand that you're working on this based on the artifact. So to show you actually how you can like multiple chats and share the same context using the project knowledge, I'm gonna start a new chat asking it to give me a requirements document on how I can like train an LLM and use it to generate the trip plan. For personalized trip planning initiative, can you create a project requirements document on how we can train LLMs and use that to plan a trip? Right. I think I'm gonna enter that. Let's see. It already knows our initiative regarding the trip planning feature because we added that as part of the knowledge base from the previous chat. It's created this project requirement document and some of the key points that they have mentioned, again coming back to that project knowledge base. So Next.js super base stack, I've already given that as project knowledge, and it also incorporated our existing user feedback regarding trip duration uncertainty and transportation concerns. So as you can see, you can create different chats and share the same project knowledge base. Now I'm gonna show some example projects that you can actually do on Claude. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but I think these examples might give you a bit of more idea about how you can actually use this feature. So one thing could be like a research project that you're working on, and the knowledge base could be like the scientific papers and the different data sets that you have done research on. And the chats can be like discussions with Claude regarding the findings and the creating the hypothesis based on that. And as a result of these chats, you will get artifacts on the summaries, and you can actually write the research paper using Claude itself. Another project, something simple, could be like a home renovation project where the knowledge base could be the improvements that you're gonna do on the home, and if you have any product catalogs related to that improvements, you can add all those as the knowledge base. The chats could be the different design ideas that you're gonna like sort of have discussion with Claude. And the artifacts could be like the sort of layout plans and material lists that the Claude comes up with. So some tips based on my experience using Claude. So as I mentioned, don't try to have long chats. You would like experience when you have long chats. Claude comes shows this warning or like that you are gonna reach the your token limit for the chat. The problem with having a long chat is the entire chat history will be taken as context when it's giving you outputs. So that's gonna take more tokens out of your daily allocated limit. So what I suggest is each like chat could have an output that you want to add to the knowledge base, right? So most of the time, Claude will actually create that artifact, and you can use the button that I showed you earlier to add it to the knowledge base. If it does not, you can actually ask Claude to summarize what you have had the conversation with Claude and create an artifact based on that. So from that, you can actually add that back to the knowledge base. And the other thing is, I think people might do, and I think something I did as well. You like put all of your documents to project knowledge base thinking like it will be helpful. But the reality is the more project knowledge base it has, the more tokens it will consume because it's gonna use that knowledge base as a sort of a context. And the other problem being like if it's something that's not really, it can cause Claude to like come up with some weird answers. So always think whether if when something's in the project knowledge base, whether it's actually helpful for your future chats to have that context in place. And, something I've also found could be a problem is if you're like running a company, creating just a single project for that company could be again a bit of too much because for example if you're a startup you have like a lot of things to do in your company, you know, the marketing, sales, product development, HR, financing and all. So if you just have like one project for your startup, it's gonna like consume a lot of tokens because you have a large project knowledge base. So what I suggest you to do is like break it down into separate projects based on different areas for your company. And also if you're like starting a new project, I think it's also worth creating a new project in Claude and trying to like try to create some documents as templates to use for these different projects. The thing is, as you might already know, like Claude doesn't have web browsing functionality or real-time knowledge. So I use Perplexity to like do research and provide those knowledge to Claude as either through the knowledge base in the project, or like if it's regarding initiative, I will just input as an prompt. I think a combination of Perplexity and Claude projects is like an ideal workflow for most of you. Right, so I've been talking about a lot of positives of using Claude projects, but there's some downsides to using Claude. So one is not having the ability to create sub-projects or like subfolders. Again, coming back to that, you know, example of a company or a startup, it would have been cool if we can actually create a project structure where you have like a top level project which contains high level details about the company, and then you can have these sub projects where you can launch different, you know, initiatives. It would have been easier to like manage your context, but for now you have to work around that to with the way that Claude actually works now. And the other thing is Claude doesn't still have web browsing or image generation, those sort of capabilities. So if that's something that you want, Claude might not be the right choice for you. And I've actually experienced a couple of times where I reached the daily limit of tokens, but if you follow the tips that I showed you earlier, you can actually reduce the chance of this happening. But all right, thank you for watching the video. So I'll be bringing more videos like this in the future, talking about different specific use cases for Claude, for things like business, developing your product. And I also have a newsletter which I send on every Sunday, which contains like tips and tricks on things like Claude and different tech tools that I use, and also different productivity tips, and also some learnings as a founder of a SaaS product. So a link to subscribe to that newsletter will be in the description. I also have videos similar to this in my YouTube channel. A link to that channel will be also in the description. So again, thank you for watching this long video, and see you soon.